What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant, and I just got to express my disappointment and a bit of frustration in Jaron Boots Ennis, as reports are coming out stating that this dude is full fledged ducking Vergil Ortiz Jr., as there have been some conflicting reports as to how this fight absolutely collapsed. We got confirmation that this fight was going down, and then reports came out that it's not going down. And like all of these boxing situations, all of the other stories are starting to be revealed. And what I've been learning from this situation is that Boots wants to stay at 147, but hold up, because Vergil Ortiz is at 154. But hold up, he wanted to fight Terrence Crawford, who is at 154. Make it make sense. But ladies and gentlemen, it is Tony the Savant. Before we get started, please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always intrigued to hear what you all have to say about these topics. And ladies and sports fans and gentlemen, Jaron Boots Ennis is one of my favorite boxers in the game right now. So this is where my frustration and disappointment comes from. As I have been one of those guys singing Jaron Boots Ennis's praises for years now. Probably a good 5 years, by accident, not even counting. I've been really rocking with this young man, and I've, anointed him as the next up. Back when Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. were running the welterweight division, Boots was the young 22, 23-year-old prospect that wasn't getting his shot from the prime guys. And I always, I was campaigning for him because I thought that he was ready. I thought that he actually had that dog in him to the point where he wanted to be the next up. And come to find out, and look, I'm going to say this too. I'm not going to say that I don't think that, I think that Jaron Boots Ennis is a duck by nature, but this is a duck, okay? For the very reason, if nothing else, you've been calling out Terrence Bud Crawford for a good year, probably a year and a half now, almost two. And Terrence Crawford had no intentions of ever staying at 147 when you was calling him out. And as of recently, we've seen Jaron Boots Ennis call out Terrence Crawford. And Bud Crawford is at 154. Bud has been saying that he was going to go to 154 for at least 2 years now, after that fight with Errol Spence. And he's comfortably at 154 now. He has a championship there, just beat Israel Majumov. And all that good stuff. So I just find it confusing, me personally, that Boots would call out and be serious about a fight with Terrence Bud Crawford at 154, because Bud isn't coming down to 147. But you don't want to fight your direct rival, who is at 154, who has a title as well. I believe Vergil Ortiz does, or at least an interim title right now. And yes, Boots has a title at 147, which is another one of the conflicting reports that's coming out, that he doesn't want to relinquish his title, that, he has an aspiration to stay at 147, go undisputed at 147, and all of this. But if that would make sense to me if he wasn't calling out Terrence Bud Crawford. And I know a lot of these dudes, they use, a boxer's name to elevate their own status. That's like one of the marketing tricks in boxing. But again, it does not make sense to do all of that when your direct rival, Vergil Ortiz, who has been your rival for quite some time, with both of y'all being at 140 at one point, 147. I think Vergil Ortiz moved up to 47 before Boots did, as he has just moved up to 54 before Boots did. Like I say, man, it just don't make sense, man. And with the state of boxing being as turbulent as it is, You hate to hear that your favorite boxer is the one that came out and says, "Oh, there was no negotiations from the jump," when your promoter said there were negotiations ongoing. So much so that Eddie Hearn was coming out saying that the fight was finished, that the fight was done. We will be getting the fight on the Riyadh season, February 22nd, I believe, or the 25th of 2025. It's just disappointing, man. It is just disappointing, and I kind of sat out of the situation just to see how things was gonna go. When the fight was first announced, I hadn't heard it from Boots or his camp, so that's where I'm giving Boots a little bit of bail here. As far as, I don't want to say he's a full fledged duck or he's ducking. Tim Bradley, the legendary boxer, came out and made a statement on this situation, and he called Boots out. Said Boots was full fledged cooking duck soup. Respectfully, I like when Tim Bradley. I like Tim Bradley. Sometimes he be jumping off the rail saying some crazy stuff, but for the most part, 70% of the time, I'll say Tim Bradley is on the money. So. But I didn't hear anything really from Boots or Boots Camp. I follow him on his social medias. So that's why I say I want to give him a little bit of bail, in the sense that I didn't hear much coming from his camp about this fight. A lot of the stuff that was coming out was just from everybody else, other sources. So, but Dan Rafael, who is, sometimes on the money, about 50-50 with Dan. He recently dropped a report saying that it was Boots' team that wanted to keep the fight at 147, when initially Boots' team was blaming Vergil Ortiz for wanting to keep the fight at 147 instead of 54, or vice versa. Like I said, these reports are conflicted, man. And this is what happens when a fight collapses. Both sides tend to start doing the blame game, pointing fingers. But anyway, but it's public information as well that Vergil Ortiz Jr. can no longer make 147. This dude hospitalized himself the last time he fought at 147. Damn near killed himself trying to make a weight for a fight. So it's clear that he can't make 147. It's clear that this fight shouldn't be at 147. And again, it all makes sense when you recall that Boots was calling out Bud, who is at 154. It just was a natural, progression of things that Boots may have moved up to 154. And Boots is now 28, I believe, 27, 28, 29, somewhere in that range. So he's in that range where his body is beginning to get bigger, and he probably should move up to 154. Don't make the mistake that Errol Spence made by staying at 147 so long, to the point where you're draining yourself to make this weight. Move up to 54. And there's more fights at 54. Respectfully, I know there's still some names at 47, but the welterweight division is going to go through a bit of a drought, in my prediction, since Errol Spence and Bud Crawford have moved on. Sean Porter has retired. We don't know what's going on with Keith Thurman. So it's the matter of the fact that the welterweight division, it was the golden division about 3-4, maybe even, within the 5 to 10 year range ago. But it's not that no more. All of those guys are at 54 now, for the most part. And there are a lot more names for Boots to be challenged by at 54. So the reports are that this fight has collapsed. I believe Vergil Ortiz is moving on to fight Israel Majamov, if I'm not mistaken, on this Bivol Beterbiev rematch card that just dropped. I'm still waiting to hear a little bit more confirmation about that, but it seems like the card is official. You got to be careful in boxing, because there's so many trolls that'll make a good looking fight card, and have that circulating around the net, just for you to find out a month later those fights ain't going down. It was a farce the entire time. So I'm still waiting, but I'm excited for the card that they released. They got Shakur on there fighting Floyd Schofield. They got Daniel Dubois fighting Josh Parker, I believe. So it's a good card, in addition to the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. It's a very good card. I would have loved to seen Boots and Vergil Ortiz on that card, respectfully. because this fight was being put together by Turkey Al Sheik, and those were the guys trying to put this fight together. I honestly felt like Boots and Vergil Ortiz should have fought in 2023. 2023 was a year of boxing where we got a lot of good matchups, a lot of um, anticipated fights, including the Bud versus Errol Spence fight. So I don't know, man. Like I say, man, it's just I'm trying to stay optimistic. I'm hoping for the best for boxing, that eventually the tides will turn and we will get back to some real dogs in the boxing game. But every time I put my faith in one of these dudes, man, they just let me down, and it's just kind of deflating at this point. It really detracts you from supporting the sport of boxing. Errol Spence was my guy for years because he was the one dude, honestly, in my opinion, that was going out there giving us these fights that we wanted to see. He was knocking off everybody's name, making the list and knocking them off. So, and recently, Errol Spence has been in a bit of a stall. So, I don't know, man. Like I say, boxing is just in a state of it's very upsetting for me. But I'm hoping for the best. I still love the game of boxing. I tell everybody basketball is my first love. Boxing is my true love. So I'm still holding out for the sport of boxing and a lot of these brothers that I support in their careers. I'm hoping that, eventually we get those mega fights again, man. Mega fight season has to swing back around in boxing. That's the only way this thing is going to be revitalized. And the only way you can get the mega fight season popping is getting these brothers to fight each other. No matter what your record looks like, everybody want to keep they O. Everybody want to hold on to their strap, babysit the belts and all that stuff. It's like, man, forget all of that. Let's get back to fighting for glory and status. So that's all I got for y'all on this one. Hopefully, like I say, this fight does go down before it ages out, before the support and momentum of it totally stops, because I feel like that affected Errol Spence and the Bud Crawford fight a little bit. We anticipated that fight for so long that when it finally went down, it just didn't feel the same. It had been such a long time of anticipating the fight that when we actually got the fight, it wasn't as illustrious as we would loved it to be. So hopefully that doesn't happen to this fight, because this is another one of those type fights. But that's all I got for y'all on this one. Please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. As well, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily, go live daily. Stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always intrigued and interested to hear what you all have to say about these sports topics. I am Tony the Savant. Thank y'all for the love and support. Peace.